Hello, hello. Welcome to Verbling. Hi there. I'm teacher Oakley, and today in this class for the next hour, we are going to be examining question types in examining and practicing question types in the IELTS speaking exam. Okay, great class for anyone preparing for IELTS, but as well, we're going to cover some question types which are also found in CAE, in TOEIC, in TOEFL, blah, 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 and so on. IELTS has three parts in the speaking test. In part 1 and part 3, or part 1, interview, asking questions about you, common things in your life. And part 2 is always the same. It's a long developed description. So we're not really going to cover that in this class because that's basically what it is, a long description. And then part 3 has is it discussion or opinion questions. Now, the thing about IELTS is that they have a huge number, hundreds and hundreds of possible topics that you may be discussing. So if trying to attack your study plan by looking at topics and learning related vocabulary and such is next to impossible, frankly. There's a few very standard kind of topics like where you live, work or study, or free time activities. These would be good to brush up on because they're super common. But many other topics are just impossible. Flowers, birds, transportation, dancing, who knows. In any case, the good thing is IELTS is quite predictable. It only has a dozen or 15, maybe, different types of questions that they're asking. Now, of course, they rephrase these in many different ways. Now, I'll be trying to clue you into that as well as we proceed today. But there's not a whole lot of different question types, and you can learn strategies, basically at least how to start out speaking for all these question types. So this is a method of a study method that I kind of tend to recommend to most of my students. All right, I'm gonna meet and greet and do a little mic check, and then we're gonna jump right in to practicing. Okay, hello, Tull.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Well, welcome to the class. Hello, Araceli. How are you?
I'm doing fine. What about your cold?
Oh, I'm hitting the hay immediately after this class.
Oh.
I suspect 2 minutes after this class ends, I'm going to be asleep because I feel about, let's say 70% asleep right now.
Oh my God. What's the time?
It's 9 p.m. now here.
Okay. So you did a hard day, and even with that medication on, so you deserve a good sleep.
I do. And I'm starting to get like hot. I'm starting to get really cold, which is the only way you can be really cold in the Philippines is to catch a cold.
Oh my God.
But I don't recommend it in any case. I'll live. I'll make it through the class. I'll struggle through. But pardon me in advance if I start a sneezing attack. I haven't been able to make it through a single class without sneezing. So, all right. Excuse me in advance. Hi, Max. Heya.
Hello again.
Hello again. And hello to Sergio. Hi, Sergio.
Hello, Oakley. Hello, everyone. I just was wondering, I may not expect to do some exam, but I think I believe that's a better way to get fluency. Am I wrong?
Sure. No. This is an appropriate class for anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter if you're taking an IELTS exam or not. We are going to be practicing English, and I'm going to be giving you feedback. I'll be giving feedback in the light of how the IELTS is scored and ways to improve your IELTS score, but I'll also be correcting your English fluency, pronunciation, and sentence structure and vocabulary. So yeah, no, you're good. You're in the right place. It's great.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to get started. Now, looky here. They frequently start a series of questions. In part one, there's a couple questions that you're most certainly going to get, and it is one question, for example, is a basic description question. It is very common to have 2 or 3 basic description questions in part one. Part 2 of the exam is a lengthy description, which you have to speak 2 minutes. But in part 1, you may get simple basic description questions. They are often used to introduce a new topic. So when the interviewer is going to talk about 2 or probably 3 different topics, at least, sometimes 4, in part 1 of the exam. So, Tull, let's start with basic description question, which you will get. It may have slight variations, but basically everyone gets this first question. Tull, tell me about your hometown.
My hometown is the central part of Thailand. Basic, the landscape is geometrically separated into 2 types. One is flat landscape, and 2 is the mountain landscape. There are many industry in my hometown. For example, the cement and lead production and concrete production. So my hometown sounds like a industrial region.
Okay, very good. All right, good. Region, landscape, some good vocabulary used there by Tull. Thank you, Tull. Please, Tull, be careful about pronouncing the ends of words, especially when you have suffixes added for grammatical reasons. For example, 2 type of should be 2 types of landscapes. Many industry, of course, should be many industries. Yeah, exactly. Cement should be cement. I should actually hear the sound of the T in cement. Okay. Could have been a little more fluent. You were actually speaking a little hesitantly. Okay, I'm imitating. Yeah. So, okay, try to keep a better flow of speech. The vocabulary was quite good because industrial, landscapes, mountain, region, good vocabulary related to talking about a place, describing a place, which is what you're doing. So that's good. Another thing that I did like in IELTS, you're rewarded for talking more, never rewarded for talking less. So try, as a general rule of thumb, I suggest that you attempt to talk about 2 different aspects, make 2 main points, make 2 examples, make 2 supporting reasons for an opinion. whatever. Okay. Uh, all right, that's my suggestion. A description question in an IELTS is very rarely are they going to say, please describe something. They'll say, tell me about, okay, tell me about your apartment. Tell me about the city where you live. Uh, tell me about your trip into the IELTS exam. Okay, either way, it's still a description question, or talk about sometimes. Talk about where you live. Okay, it could be. By the way, tell me about your hometown, or it could be tell me about the city where you live. Slightly different meanings there. Your hometown is the place where you grew up as a child, and where you live is where you live now. So, hey, to be safe, I would just practice saying both. Well, my hometown is still Vermont, but I currently live in Clark in the Philippines, like that. Anyway. Okay, next question type. Araceli is liking question. All right, let's try a simple one. Araceli, do you like animals?
Yes, I think I like animals. When I was a kid, I enjoyed having animals and playing with them. Now that I'm grown up, I'm not so sure that I love having animals at home, because you have a lot of work with them. They are sometimes very dirty and they take a lot of time. For example, if you have a dog, you have to walk him or her out. So, but I think animals are lovely. I enjoy watching TV documentaries on all kinds of animals, and in general, I like biology. So it's not that I don't like them, but sometimes I think I don't want them living with me in my own
Okay.
house.
All right, very good. In depth, nice, very nice continuity and fluency. A couple of very small mistakes. One I didn't write it down fast enough, and my brain's not functioning too well. But another one, something about there a lot of work. Something was wrong with that.
Yes,
Sorry, I missed it. They
yes,
take a lot of
I
work
see.
or something.
Yeah, they give a lot of work or something like
Oh,
that.
they give a lot of work, right? Well, they
How would
don't.
you say that?
They take a lot of work
They
because
take, okay.
they're taking. They're not doing the work.
Yeah.
If I could train a dog to do my dishes, I'd have three dogs. You,
No,
fight out, dishes now. Bowser, laundry, do it. Good
no, we
boy.
are not so lucky. No, I said
That'd be
they
great.
give you a lot of work, but maybe that sounds okay in Spanish, but not in English. The animals give to me a lot of work, something like that.
Right. Well, exactly. So in English, we'd normally say they take a lot of work, meaning
Okay.
they take work from you. So slightly different idea there. And the other one is you said you said you have to walk them out. We wouldn't use out. You have to walk them. That's it. We all know what that means. Of course, it's
Okay.
necessary to walk your dog. We can keep it very simple. Everybody understands that concept. So we don't just say you have to take them outside and walk them. Basically, we just shorten it. You have to walk your dog, of course, like that. Okay, that was
Okay.
actually a good response. One thing I might say, if you are studying for IELTS, you are most certainly going to get a liking question, no doubt about it. So you might as well learn some synonyms for like. I'm really into, I enjoy, I'm keen on. My favorite is I love. Uh, okay. I adore. Okay. Think of different ways to say liking. And really the same thing for the next question type, which is going to Max, which is disliking. Same advice here. Think of different ways to say dislike. I can't stand, I hate, I abhor, I detest, I really don't like. Okay. Um, okay, Max, and it's very common for them to say, okay, so beware of this as well. Yeah, okay, I could ask in the test, do you like animals? And then the next question, what is something you dislike about animals? No, Max, I know you like animals, but let's try the question anyway. What is something you dislike about animals?
Ah.
Yeah. Ah.
This is tough question.
Yes, it is. Actually, it
But
is.
I think a lot of things from my list about my disliking. Araceli just said 2 minutes ago. First of all,
Oh, yeah.
I dislike that my dogs. I'd sooner say generate, pro make a lot of dirt in my home. Really.
Okay. Yeah, you can use make or generate. Okay, keep going.
And secondly, my dog was a gift for my wife, and I didn't think that I want to walk this this dog. I will I will have to walk with our dog. It takes a lot of time for me, usually.
Okay. It takes a lot of time. All right, very, very good. Okay, by the way, I have to say, if this happens, if you get a like and then dislike, and you've already described some things you don't like in the liking part, try to avoid that, first of all, I would advise, because you want to, it's a logical and very often used. Sometimes they don't ask dislike, but sometimes they do. It's so it's very so you might want to reserve your dislike information and see if they ask that question. If you've already said something you dislike, they may ask you this. They do this in IELTS specifically to hear if you know how to deal with that situation where you're going to have to repeat information. Simply put, well, as I previously stated, or as I just said, in this case for Max, it would be, well, as Araceli just explained. All right, these are common ways. Yes, they are so cruel, Araceli. You're totally right. They're constantly trying to trip you up, trick you, distract you, and fool you. Yes, they are. Yeah, they're not all that sweet. You're absolutely correct. So that's one thing that they do. They are just trying to test to see if you know how to actually introduce information you've already said. Well, as I previously said, or as I said a little bit earlier, and then just talk about it again, but try to use different phrasing or different vocabulary words. That's it. All right. And then, of course, again, having different ways to say don't like, dislike, hate, can't stand, etc. Okay, well, there you go. Dislike questions. Next type of question. Sergio, I have a question for you. And that question is, tell me about the different types of public transportation in your city. This is type number 4, the types of question, types of or kinds of. Okay, tell me about the types of transportation in your city.
Okay. The city I'm currently living now is Rio de Janeiro, and there's two kind of transportation here. The public transportation is considering bus and subway. And the other hand, for from and these are a private bus company that's work here as well. And for this city, I should say that depend on, of course, where you live in this city, because like I live in the south, and for me, it's more convenient to use public transportation such as bus or metro. But if you live in the, I'd say, in the east of this city, you should use car or maybe this bus from the private company. There's a line exclusively for this kind of bus. So again, it depends on the where you live, but I should say we have a great both public and private transportation here.
Ooh, look, looky here, and a little bit of a conclusion at the end to signal me that he's done speaking. All right, he summarizes the information at the end. I like it. That's good. That is something they're looking for in the IELTS exam. Okay, you used an excellent strategy, which I often recommend to the students, and that is using the depends on strategy. Because if you remember at the very beginning of class, I said try to talk about two aspects, which you did. You talked about two types. By the way, first and foremost, types of or kinds of question they never ask in IELTS. They never ask, tell me about a type of or a kind of. They never want to hear about one. They're never going to ask you. It's always going to be plural, which means if you only talk about one type or one kind, then you're not really answering the question, and you're going to lose points all across the board in scoring. That could really hurt you. Yet another kind of trick that they use in IELTS, they will always ask for more than one types or kinds. Sergio used a good strategy. He used the depends on strategy. Now, he didn't say depends on until he was almost done speaking, but I recognized the strategy the whole way through. I was pleasantly just surprised at the end here. So it depends on, okay, where you're going or what you're doing. Great. This is a strategy to answer what seem to be very simple or very direct questions, or we'll see in a minute, yes or no questions. A strategy to use is to say, well, it depends, and then break down the question into two parts. In this, it's a kinds of questions, so it's very obvious how to break it down. In other cases, you can break down the question by talking about, I don't know, what children do as opposed to what adults do, or when you have money or you don't have money, or when you have time or you don't have time. It depends on if I have time or not. It depends if I have money or not. So those are typical ways you can break down a question into parts and have more to say, because that's basically the idea of these exams, is to talk. Okay, two main types. Two main types. I didn't hear the S when you said that, Sergio. The next thing, to tell you the truth, your connection sort of cut out a little, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of everything you said, but kind of in the middle, near the beginning, you said, oh, you can take whatever it was, a train or something, and then you said, on the other hand, you can take a bus. don't think you used it quite. It is possible to use. You can take a train if you're in a hurry. On the other hand, if you want to save money, you might take a bus. That's kind of how you used, on the other hand, to show introduce a contrasting idea. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you used it, and again, it kind of got choppy as far as connection, not your speech, but okay. So anyway, this is good. Okay, signal phrases. First of all, I should tell you about another way you can travel. Okay, on the other hand, these kinds of phrases, connectives and discourse markers, signal words, signal phrases, this is IELTS gold. They want to hear a lot of this. It's very important. It actually affects your score in all of the aspects of scoring in IELTS. Not only IELTS, CAE, TOEIC, TOEFL, every one of these tests pretty much has right in their scoring rubric, in their the actual detailed scoring rubric, every one of these exams has the use of signal words and signal phrases as a primary component. Okay, so I like to hear that. That's good. You said a private something company, and I missed the word. Private bus company, maybe? Was that it?
Private.
No?
Yeah, that's company.
Okay, a couple
Private.
other small pronunciation problems. Convenient. Okay.
Convenient.
Convenient. And also exclusively. Great word. And you used it correctly, but pronunciation was not quite perfect. Exclusively. Okay. There are lines exclusively for the private bus companies. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Overall, very good answer, though. Lots of details. Okay. Types of, kinds of. Keep in mind, it's always going to be plural. That's the mistake I usually hear most often. Khaled, hello. Sorry I haven't said hello yet. I haven't greeted you properly.
No problem. I'm joined late, that's why. Thank you.
Well, that, and I'm kind of on a roll. I've got some momentum. I want to keep going before I pass out, to tell you the truth. Okay. Khaled, I'm going to throw you the next type of question, which, frankly, all right, kind of what I was just talking about with Sergio, a WH or how often question. This is the next type of question that you will hear on the IELTS test. Basically, what we're talking about here is asking for quite specific information. Now, this is where you might be able to use the depends on, it depends type of answer. But basically, the trick here, again, another IELTS trick, is they're asking for something that seems to be straightforwardly asking for very specific information. Your job is to actually talk for a minute or to talk about two aspects. So let's try one. Here we go. Khaled? How often do you go to the movie cinema?
To be honest, it's a long time ago that I've been in the cinema, especially in Libya, because the cinema is I mean, the centers is not there is no new one, and the old one is not I mean repaired or renew it. So, but in some time when I travel, I mean, like in Turkey, I enjoy my time in some cinema there. So, but it's dependent in the when I have some time. Usually, I watch some movie in you know, the internet now is changing everything, so we can watch the movie through the internet. You know, but I prefer to watch the new movie in the cinema. But as I told you, we didn't have good places here in Libya, so when I be able to watch the cinema in foreign country, or when I was in the travel. So every time I get this chance to watch some movie there.
Okay. One quick correction. When I was in the travel, you should use a gerund. When I was, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Past continuous. When I was traveling.
Traveling, yeah.
I was traveling, ing form. Okay, all right. So basically, he started right out. Okay, to tell you the truth, now I don't go to the cinema. He explained why. Then he explained in the past. So he did break the question apart into present and past. And then furthermore, he added another aspect about present and talked about the internet. So great. That answer is long enough sentences, enough detailed information, more specific information, like talking about the internet, and maybe could have used a little bit more topic-related vocabulary. I don't know, even words like download. Okay, and okay, words to help describe. You know, more details always better. Yeah.
Online, something like that.
Something like that. Something like, I enjoy going to the cinema, getting my popcorn and a big soda. The only thing I don't like the fact that they never build cinemas big enough for my long legs. Okay, that's very personal, but it's true. That's why I always have to sit on the aisle. Okay, use your own personal experience to help yourself add detail to your answer. Araceli, what is your question there?
Sorry, I was thinking about vocabulary related to this. So how do you say I always go to the last, to the latest? What's the word?
Oh, release.
Release. Okay.
Right?
Release.
Yeah, okay. A new movie that's just coming out in the movie theater is a release, or it's a bit redundant actually, but we often refer to it as a new release. Go check out the latest, or the latest release, I could say, also co-located. Okay.
It's release. Yeah, we can use for the cinema or for the software. You know, new version. New release of the software.
Oh yeah, right. Same thing. Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. Yep. Yeah, you're correct. But one other thing, Araceli, what do you call new movies on the cinema? Not how do you call. All right, would be more appropriate way to ask the question initially. Okie doke. All right, so the idea, even though it seems like a direct question, talking a lot, you guys have got it. Here's the next type, Tull. I'm going back to you. Next type of question is a yes/no question. The kind of question that could be answered with a yes or a no, but of course you can't do that in a speaking exam. They can't score you if you're just answering yes, no. So, Tull. Some of these are harder, and some of these are very difficult to answer. Some of them you can say, well, it depends. For example, okay, let's see. Is watching TV a popular activity in your country? Okay, well that's pretty, it depends. For some people it is, for older people or younger people or whatever. There's kind of obvious ways to break that question into parts. Sometimes not so easy to add detail. I'm going to try to challenge Tull a little bit. Tull?
Yes.
Okay, here's an example of not only is it a yes or no question, but it's a really stupid question. Tull, is eating healthy important?
Is eating healthy important? Is
Healthy. Yeah,
healthy
okay.
important? It depends on your point of view. If you are younger, maybe eating healthy food may not fulfill your pleasure, but when you getting all this healthy food, it make you fulfill your pleasure, because as you grow up until you get old enough, you will know what you will see the change, many change in your body. For example, you your leg, for example, you feel pain in your muscle. Or you so maybe you want healthier food to make you think you feel better. So healthy food is important if you think it's important.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Not too bad. I'm going to teach you a vocabulary word though that would have helped a lot, which I bet I bet this may be a new word for many of you guys. Here's a verb: to sate. S-A-T-E. To sate your appetite. Toe was kind of struggling to express the idea of to satisfy yourself or to pleasure. She said to give yourself pleasure. Okay, there's a word for that. It means to satisfy and to provide pleasure, both at the same time. So you sate your appetite. Okay, that means you're happy. It makes you happy and it makes you full. It's like satisfy your appetite. Here's another one we can use for thirst. To slake. You slake your thirst. Again, same type. Usually we use sate for food, slake for liquid, satisfy your thirst. On the other hand, we use both of these in much more sort of metaphorical, abstract ways to talk about, to use as a sort of a kind of a metaphor. Okay, he could never seem to slake his thirst for beautiful women, for example, or sate his appetite for beautiful women. Something like that might be common. So much, obviously, using it much more metaphorically. Literally, it means like you use it with food or liquid thirst. Okay. Tull, overall, though, not a bad answer. Tough. This is a tough question. Really, it's a very general question. It's a very stupid question because it's quite obvious. IELTS will do this. They will ask the dumbest question: is it important to eat healthy food? Oh no, no. People, I eat rubber bands and pencils. I think healthy food is overrated. What are you going to say? Of course, it's important to eat healthy foods. So how much detail can you add? Tull, I commend you. You actually did a pretty decent job of trying to add some detail there by again dividing the what she did. She divided into younger people and older people. Great. All right. Terrific. Okay, a little more. The vocabulary would have helped us out a lot because you're kind of struggling to think of how to express this idea. But anyway, there it is. Now you know. Okay, not bad at all. All right, let's go on to our next question type, Araceli, which is also common in part 1, would questions. Okay, Araceli, a would question. I think it's fairly obvious what the IELTS examiner wants to hear. We use would question to pose hypotheticals. So, of course, I'm going to ask a would question so I can hear modals to talk about probability, adverbs, and also the future, maybe future tenses. Araceli, would you like to live near the sea?
Oh, yes, I guess I would love to live near the sea. The main reason is that I was born in Valencia, which is quite near to the sea, and I kind of miss it. So I would love to be there also because I will be nearer to my family. And on the other hand, I think it's healthier to live near the sea, and it's more pleasant because the climate is usually warmer. So also you can enjoy going to the beach and all of that stuff in summer. So yes, if I was given the opportunity, I would enjoy to live nearer to the sea. But actually, I can't because I live like 3 hours by car to the sea. So, but this is here I have. This is where I have my work, my job, and so I can't move for the moment.
Okay. Okay, also, the other thing, I didn't mention it, but when they ask a would question in IELTS or any of these other exams, really you should take the opportunity to form a conditional sentence, which Araceli did. If I were given the chance, I would. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. One moment. If I were given the chance, I would. Okay, past tense in the if clause, and then would in the main clause of the sentence. Good job. You did it. Again, I didn't quite feel that the use of the phrase "on the other hand" was actually correct in this case. On the other hand, you just used it to add another reason, but another positive reason. It should be used to give a negative. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
On the other hand,
I should have said additionally or in addition to this.
something like that would have been better. Right.
Okay.
Exactly. You could use, on the other hand, I'm very, very frightened of fish. So I would be scared to live near the ocean. Something like that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then one small preposition mistake. It's 3 hours. I live. No, you're saying I live 3 hours to the beach or to the ocean. It should be I live 3 hours from the ocean.
Okay.
It's okay to use two. It takes 2 hours or 3 hours. Sorry, it takes 3 hours to get to the ocean, or it's 3 hours driving time. 3 hours drive to the ocean. That's okay, but the way you used it, I live 3 hours from the ocean. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so much for would questions. golden opportunity there, because actually many people in these exams, they freeze when they get a future question. When it asks a would question, or later in the exam in part 3, they frequently ask future questions. Or you're going to get at least one future question in part 3. What do you think something will be like in the future? Many people freak out that, well, I don't know, how can I answer? What is the right answer? It doesn't make any difference. This is actually, you're looking at it the wrong way if that's your thinking. Actually, you have complete license to say anything, absolutely anything that you want to when you're talking about the future, because there is no right answer. So you have more freedom, not less. So you don't tighten up if you get these future questions, because basically you should relax, because you're allowed to say absolutely anything. Okay. Part 2 questions are always long answers, long descriptions. So they're always basically the same. They're going to ask you to describe in detail an experience, perhaps a place, perhaps a person, perhaps occasionally an object. We're not going to cover that here today. If you'd like to practice that, I suggest that you join me tomorrow morning, or what would be tomorrow morning for me. So approximately 13 hours from now. Because we'll be doing part 2 questions in IELTS in T-minus 13 hours right here on Verbaling. So I'm going to jump to part 3 question types. And I'm going to talk to Max. Hey, Max. All right. Question type number 1 that we can see in part 3 is the comparison question. Okay, so Max could be time comparison, groups, men and women, old and young, even geographical. Let's try a question now. All right. Max, do men and women like the same hobbies in your country?
I think in my country, men and women like different hobbies. First of all, men and women, this is impossible to. I mean, the men and women are not equal. For example, men in my country likes what does what do you like? They like
They like.
I don't know what.
Wow.
They like.
Oh, come on, man. Sports.
Just
drinking vodka. Fighting.
Sometimes drinking vodka, fighting with each other, and
Okay.
racing in the sport car.
Okay.
The sport car, and I don't know, and doing very stupid thing, I think. Yeah, really, they don't care about anything. A lot of them. Maybe I'm one of them. But women like to watch TV, very stupid movie, I think, such as Chicken Flakes movie, Sir Jack's movie, yeah. And also they love to read some kind of books, like such as this is movie about love, bound relationship between man and woman.
Okay.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I think it's impossible to have the same hobbies for men and women.
Okay. All right. In a nutshell, good way to signal a summary. Excellent, because, all right, Max used a lot of unusual language, idiomatic language, or he attempted to. In a nutshell, that's an idiom to introduce a summary. Chick flicks, not chicken flicks. Chick. It has to be chick flicks. And
Okay.
tear jerker. Tear jerker movies.
Tear jerker.
Yeah, that movie's a real tear jerker. Okay, all right. I have to say something. He messed up a couple of these. He said chicken flicks. He said tear jerk movies. Okay, they're not quite right. But on the other hand, it was totally comprehensible. And I do have to state that one very solid concept of the IELTS exam. Here's where they give a little back. All right, you're right. Araceli mentioned that they're jerks and they try to cheat you, and yes, they do. But here's where they give a little back. Look, in the IELTS exam, particularly, this is not really true in the TOEFL exam. TOEFL expects very direct information. In the IELTS exam, you can speak absolutely perfectly, simple vocabulary, simple sentences, and guess what? You cannot get above a score of 4. Not to mention in real life, if you spoke all simple words, simple sentences, you would be very boring. Period. But in the IELTS exam, if you try to do more complex things, they will reward you for speaking much worse but attempting. And that goes for pronunciation, special pronunciation things like drop syllables or ellipsis. That goes for vocabulary, like the example that Max made for us, using idiomatic language or phrasal verbs or collocations, whatever. If you mess it up, look, it's better. You're going to get a better score, a whole level, one whole band level in the IELTS test. They're going to raise you up one whole level for trying. If you don't try, forget it. Now, if you get it right some of the time, half the time, then it will actually raise your level 2 whole band scores. And if from not doing it, if you actually get it almost completely all right, then you're raising your band level 3 whole band scores. And that goes for vocabulary, pronunciation, complex sentences, complicated verb tenses, conditional sentences, relative clauses, etc., etc., etc. So there is no point in not trying. You might as well try. There's nothing to risk, everything to gain. You can't lose. So anyway, this theme rides across all the categories, all kinds, with paraphrasing, using discourse markers, more obscure vocabulary, everything. All the aspects of the scoring works the same way. Don't do it is lower than does it, but totally messes it up. Is a higher score than not doing it at all. Okay, back to, all right. Oh, okay. All right. So very good. Okay, comparison question. Obviously, I have already said we try to break things into 2 parts to talk about 2 things. Well, duh. Obviously, in a comparison question, they give you the 2 things to talk about, so no problem. Absolutely, you can use your second comparative by using while on the other hand, or conversely, alternatively. Shell, where are you, Shell? Shell asked a question from outside the classroom, which I'm going to answer. Shell asks, when it comes to accent, is it true there's a better chance to get better scores when we use a British accent? No, that is a myth. Absolutely not. It does not affect your score if you use American or British accent. If you use American or British vocabulary words, you know, like Americans say truck and British say lorry. Americans say gas, British say petrol. No, just the only way that it would affect your score at all is if you're inconsistent. Yeah, well, yes, of course, most of the listening part, or you have to listen to the, well, no, wait, let me back up. The listening section is going to be mostly British accent, but not an outrageous accent. You may hear, they may have an American or a Canadian. They may have somebody with a slight German accent or slight Chinese accent for listening. So yes, it can affect your understanding. The interviewer in the speaking test, the ones that work here in Manila, one of them is from Hong Kong. She's a lady. We refer to her as the Dragon Lady because she has absolutely no emotion. She does the whole test with absolutely no intonation. She just asks the questions. She never smiles or frowns. Not a face on her, not a muscle in her face moves. Anyway, she has a slight Mandarin accent, and then there's a British fellow, British chap, I should say, and then there's an Australian guy. So there's 3 or 4, and the other guy is Canadian. So whatever, those are the 4 I know about that give regular testing here where I live in the Philippines, in Manila. So the testers are from everywhere. A large part of them are British, of course, but they can be from anywhere, really. Okay. In any case, all right, comparison question. All right, try to do a little contrast as well as comparison. Always a good idea. There's 2 ways you can handle this, and not on, here and possibly in writing. In the writing, you may be asked to do a comparative opinion. There's 2 strategies. You can talk completely about men and then completely about women, which is what Max did. I feel that that's a much easier strategy to use, frankly. Or you can talk about different aspects. Well, when it comes to sports, men do this, women do that. When it comes to crafts, men do this, women do that. When it comes to entertainment, men do this, women do that. You can use that structure, which of course gives you a lot more opportunity to do comparative and superlative structures, and to use things like on the other hand, or alternatively. It's a little more challenging, it's more difficult, but you could conceivably get more points out of it if you do it right. But the way Max did it is actually a lot easier. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, they will also ask a predicting question. So, Sergio, what will cars be like in the future? Sergio, are you there? Sergio?
Hello? Hello? Oh,
Hi.
I'm sorry. My connection is acting up again. I don't know why, but okay. Can you hear me now?
What will cars be like in the future? Was your question?
Okay. Well, I would be fully satisfied if I got a Ferrari. I know that is something maybe really difficult to drive here in Rio, because the road is not really appropriate for this kind of car, special for Ferrari, consider the value, how worth it could. And yes, but I considering to move for another state, maybe Florida, that has a really good railway, and I could enjoy driving my Ferrari there.
Okay, I guess, but the question is, usually these questions are general in nature. Not what car do you want in the future? What will cars be like in the future? Okay, so the question actually was, what will cars be like? They'll be flying cars, like in Back to the Future, like that.
They will be more smarter than what is now. I mean, it will be connected to the internet. Maybe it's more automated. You can control the cars, something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. That's exactly it. That's the idea. When you get, by the way, when you get these future questions, things, or it may even be what will change. Okay, maybe a future or what will something be like. You'll hear will, but you can always count on. You can talk about technology because we all know technology is going to change. So that's just have that in the back of your mind. Money, you can always count on that's going to change because everything gets more expensive. So you can talk about technology and money, possibly social aspects. Sergio's no problem, buddy. No problem at all. No worries. It's okay. I didn't get to some other, just a couple other question types. So really quickly, why do people like to take vacations, for example? These kinds of questions. Why do children learn languages very quickly? Another, I'm sorry we didn't get to that. Advantages and disadvantages is another question type to practice and very common in the IELTS test. And finally, problems and solutions. Things like, okay, what problems with pollution do you have in your country? What are some possible solutions? Like that. So that's basically it. That's it. The types of questions in IELTS that you should be preparing for. And you're very, very likely to get basically every type of question we've looked at today. At least one of. This is a typical IELTS test. Topics you don't know. Question types, there you have it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It is time for me to go and lay my weary head down. Take some medication and live to fight another day. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks,